Is Michael Buffer for the introductions.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of our co-featured main events of the evening. Let me introduce to you first the referee, Larry Hazard. This bout scheduled for 10 rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing in the red corner, wearing the black trunks with gold trim, he weighs 159½ pounds. Along with steak sandwiches and pretzels, he's the pride of South Philadelphia. His record, 15-7-2, 9 big knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, Tough Tony Suero. And in the blue corner, wearing a red trunks with white trim, weighing 161 pounds even, from Chorrera, Panama, undefeated in 16 professional bouts, 12 by knockout, introducing Nestor the Beast Flores.
Now, that's the way to introduce fighters.
Buffer's wired tonight.
Regulations in the dressing room. Let me remind you, when I give you a command, I expect you to obey my command. Okay? Conduct yourselves with good sportsmanship at all times. I won't hesitate to penalize you if you fail to do so. You have any questions? No. Okay, shake hands. Come out fighting at the bell.
Okay, Tough Tony Suero, 25 years old, trying to get his pro career straightened out. Across the way, the number 10 middleweight in the world, according to the WBA, the man from Panama, Nestor Flores, scheduled for 10. And we will see if Nestor lives up to his nickname, Nestor the Beast. Now, what happens if he fights John Mugabe?
Oh, somebody's got to give up the nickname, I guess. And they are in the same weight class, as a matter of fact, so that is a possibility. He's ranked 10th by the WBA, Flores, and of course it's interesting, as I noted at the beginning of the show, he's been seen very little in the United States, and yet with that high ranking, I have to say, what does he have to offer, because we don't know.
According to his people, manager and trainers, he is a rough fighter who hits hard. They're trying to teach him to box more. Tony Suero can do a little of each. He can box, he can mix it up.
And you never know what you're really going to get from Tony Suero when he goes in the ring. Sometimes he is indeed a brawler, and sometimes, as against Kevin Perry in the last fight, he boxed a lot, but just didn't do enough offensively.
Admits that he wasn't busy enough and lost to Kevin Perry.
Tony Suero himself has several times been just on the edge of maybe proving himself to be a possible top 10 fighter, and each time takes a step backwards.
Flores landing some good shots. Left to the body, right to the head.
That right, I think, got the attention of Tony Suero.
Yes, it did. Eyes open wide, and Suero backing up. Mr. Flores shows some power. We're midway through round 1. Flores coming in a record of 16-0 with 12 knockouts. Last fight April 17th in Miami, when he scored a first-round knockout over Ernest Cyclone. They're in a testing ground here for Flores. Getting some recognition, some exposure, and just an idea of how good he is and what he still needs to learn. He's 23 years old.
Suero gets a warning to keep his punches up. Several have strayed low in this first round.
Suero, trained by Carmen Graziano. Lived in Carmen's house for the last 5 weeks. He and Babenzi, Giovanni Babenzi, who's on in our next co-feature, has worked hard for this fight. And as Carmen said to us today, no excuses if they got beat, if they get beat by better people. No excuses. They're ready for this fight.
Suero's been busier here in this first round, but Flores has landed a couple of very big punches.
20 seconds to go in round 1. A little redness under the right eye of Tony Suero, and again Flores landing with a right hand. Nice jab by Suero as we come to the end of round 1. Trunks. Nestor Flores in the red. This is round 2, scheduled for 10. Good right hand, and Flores follows with a left.
Step back, Kevin. Step back.
There's been very little body punching from Flores. That's something Eduardo Navarro, his manager, said they've been trying to get him to do, although he hasn't really been in range to do it that much against Suero so far. He has an excellent left hook, and Navarro said he's coming along, that they feel they're teaching him boxing skills, and he's much less of a brawler than he used to be, and he shows us evidence of some boxing skills.
Most of Nestor Flores' fights have been fought in Panama. 2 have been fought in Miami, now for the first time in Atlantic City.
Suero's been able to get the jab in pretty effectively over the first 2 rounds, but it hasn't done any real damage. There is swelling starting under both the left and right eye of Tony Suero. It's just in the beginning stages, but you can see it developing.
Nice jab by Suero. Flores, times looking a little awkward when he just winds up with those big punches, not putting much together in combination.
He's obviously a patient fighter, Flores is. Suero's going for the body. Some of those straying a little low, but that's partially because Flores is covering up so well.
Midway through the second round, you saw Flores loading up with that right hand, pawing with a jab and looking to land a good overhand right by Suero. Brings the hometown crowd screaming.
He had been going to the body. He looked at the body and threw an overhand right to the head, and it landed. Reminiscent of what Ken Norton used to do. But, you know, Flores just stood there. He just didn't react.
Slapping left hand by Flores in there.
Tony Suero's having a good round. You just don't know if it's having any serious impact on Flores.
Suero's a gamer. He's right in there. Flores, the unknown commodity here. Nice slipping by Suero.
You know, they said this was a good barometer for Flores, and indeed it is. Yeah. Tony Suero is a tough middleweight, and he's a guy who comes in with an extensive bag of tricks, and he's shown Flores just about all of them in his first 2 rounds.
And as you mentioned, a fighter who's fought a lot of good competition. Doug DeWitt, he's fought Sean Mannion, Roger Stafford, Danny Long, Mike McCallum. Some good competition.
It's an interesting list of fighters.
We are late in the second round of our co-featured event. It's scheduled for 10. You're watching Top Rank Boxing.
At the belt line of Nestor Flores, bang, there's the overhand right. And after that, Flores just kind of stood there.
Back to the live action, round 3. Tony Suero on the black trunks, getting on the move. Check Al's scoreboard through the first 2 rounds. Light it up, and you see it even.
First round to Flores, second to Suero. I've got it dead even at 1-1.
Suero's corner feels he won the first round. They've been telling him he won the first 2 rounds. I agree with you. I've got it 1-1.
First round was pretty close, though, because Suero did land a lot of punches. Flores may be landing the harder punches. Flores is letting Tony Suero get off. And if you give Tony Suero confidence in a fight and let him get his momentum going, he can be very difficult to deal with.
And don't forget, this is a pro Tony Suero crowd in this arena. In the ballroom here.
Good left
Flores
by Flores. That kind of buckled the knees of Tony Suero.
No question that Flores hits hard. And what Suero has to do is make him miss and frustrate him a little bit.
Suero can be knocked out. Mike McCallum did it to him in April of 1983. McCallum, of course, the top-ranked junior middleweight right now, and a fighter who does indeed have some power. Also, Davey Moore knocked him out in 1981. Of course, the former junior middleweight champion.
Another man with power. We're midway through the 3rd round. There have been no knockdowns here. Nice countering by Flores when Suero missed with that big overhand right again. Carmen Graziano, his trainer, wanted him to move to his left and use the left hook more. Instead, Suero has been throwing that right.
He also cautioned Suero about trading with Flores and taking chances. He said, you can win this fight by outboxing. Be careful. Don't take unnecessary chances.
Less than a minute to go in the 3rd round.
When Suero follows with the right behind the jab, he's able to land it. There's the jab landing again. He comes with the right behind that. He isn't landing that far. Good head movement by Suero as he comes in.
Suero is probably in the best shape of his life, I would venture to say. He started fighting professionally in 1979, and things have gone went downhill in '83. Half a minute to go in the third round. Suero fought only once in '83, and this is his third fight here in 1984.
You know, Nestor Flores may yet hurt Suero, may knock him out, may win this fight, but right now he is giving Suero a chance to get his confidence going, and this is a confident Tony Suero.
Final seconds of the third round. Glancing right hand scores for Tony Suero as we come to the bell.
As a puncher, but Tony Suero landed an excellent right hand in the last round.
And there is Tony Suero up off the stool. A little swelling under the right eye. There's Nestor Flores, unmarked. Doesn't seem to be winded at all. This is round 4. And a good matchup once again. Middleweight night here in Atlantic City. Rand Barkley winning a unanimous decision over Esteban Pizarro, an 8-rounder. Glancing left hand scores for Suero.
Nestor Flores has an impassive look on his face, as if nothing seemed to bother him much. He is taking his time in this fight for sure, but he could take his time too long and find himself in the short end of the decision if he doesn't hurt Suero.
Flores not afraid to exchange with Suero. He countered nicely with a right hand. Flores looking very patient. The question is, will he open up? Is he pacing himself to go 10?
His idol, the idol of Flores, is Roberto Duran from Panama, and interestingly, he has beaten a man who Duran also beat, Wellington Wheatley. He beat him on a decision in the 4th round in October 15th, 1983, and Wheatley was one of the men Duran campaigned against when he had moved up in one of his many division jumps.
One of the heavier divisions.
Yes.
Right hand by Flores. Might have been a little low that last right. Flores certainly would like to become the next idol of Panama, obviously, to pick up where Roberto Duran left off.
He's become a little busier here in this round, Flores, but they're still not putting that many punches together, and Suero's still doing more work.
Well, he really doesn't have a jab to do anything with. He seems to be loading up with punches. The jab that Flores throws is kind of just paws it out, sticks it out, and doesn't do anything with it. Suero having no trouble moving in on Flores. Less than a minute to go in round 4.
You know, it's not that Suero has hurt Flores much in this fight, but he's been landing good shots, and he is just being a pesky fighter in there, doing a lot of work, staying busy, and even when he's not landing, is appearing much busier to the judges.
He's fighting a smart fight.
He is
really
indeed.
Impressed.
He wanted to do this against Kevin Perry, but what he didn't do against Perry, he just didn't punch enough. He fought a similar kind of fight, but didn't punch enough, and so Kevin Perry was able to walk away from here with a decision.
See the clock winding down on this 4th round, coming down to 20 seconds to go. Larry Hazard is the referee. Tony Suero and Nestor Flores. We come to the bell, ending round 4.
Let's bring him up, Tony. Okay, let's bring him up.
10. Middleweights, Nestor Flores from Panama in the red trunks. Man from Vineland, New Jersey, tough Tony Suero in the black trunks. And Suero has fought a good fight thus far. Flores just doesn't seem to put it together, hasn't seemed to open up yet.
I think most of the people here, and perhaps those watching at home, are waiting for Flores to open up. Like, he's landed a couple of good shots, and they appear to have had some impact on Suero. He looks really strong, but just not punching yet.
Flores, unbeaten in 16 pro fights, ranked number 10 in the world by the WBA, but relatively unknown commodity here in the United States.
And after 4 rounds, he may still be an unknown commodity here in the United States. He just hasn't shown us much offensively yet.
Fans urging Tony Suero on each round. Suero goes back into his corner and asks trainer Carmen Graziano, what's the score? What's the score? And Carmen told him 3-1. After the 4th, you're in the lead. And that's the way I have it.
I agree with Carmen. It's the first time Carmen and I have ever agreed on scoring.
Flores opening up. He's rocked Suero with a couple of left hands following that right.
Well, he'd like to make it academic, Flores, right now by knocking out Suero. He's got Tony in some trouble.
He is hurt. Suero trying to hold on, tie him up.
He is a little glassy-eyed.
Good slipping by Suero. Hasn't gotten hit here in this last exchange. He's done a good job. We're midway through the 5th round. But Flores opening up, scores with a right hand.
Suero exchanging with him, and there's a long time left to go in this round, as you see, so he's got a while to survive this storm.
First sustained attack by Nestor Flores. He lands with a good counter left hook.
Boy, that one punch changed the complexion of this fight. Suero's doing a fairly good job, though, of weathering this. We'll see if he can continue.
Seems to have composed himself. Less than a minute to go in the 5th round. It's Suero circling and trying to stay away from Flores. Flores just stalking his man now, going after Suero, trying to cut him off.
And all the conditioning Suero has done will pay off for him right now.
Flores seems to know what he wants to do right now. Half a minute to go in the 5th round. Suero trying to circle away from the power of Flores and just collect himself. There's the good left hand by Flores. Does not follow up, though. Flores, good counterpuncher. Less than 10 seconds to go in the 5th round. And a big round for Flores as he counters with a right hand. Suero has taken some punches. And the end of round 5. Good round for Nestor Flores. Go back into the corner of Tony Suero. Carmen Graziano gets in to talk to him.
When he hits you, grab him, Tony. But in the meantime, he shouldn't be that close, Tony. He should be on the end of your jab. He should be on the end of your jab. You're not...
That's what not.
No, but you lost that round. He should be on the end. Just down, bend down.
What do you look like? Hitting? No. Huh? Okay? All right.
Legs out, Tom. Relax. Relax, Tony. Tony, hold him with a jab. Stay where you can see his gloves coming. You know, when you're doing the gym on your back foot, make sure you're going away from him. Right? You got a hook right hand, okay? Leave with a hook right hand. Okay, jab. Every time he's close enough, Tony, knock him off balance.
Nestor Flores changed the complexion of this fight with that left hook, that right hand, and then this left hook. And then later on, you'll see Nestor Flores, after he's had Suero in some trouble, kind of cuffs him with that left hand. But that first combination you saw completely changed this fight.
Round 6. Let's see how Suero comes back after the big round by Nestor Flores. Nestor the Beast Flores, ranked number 10 by the WBA. Let's check Al's scoring, see what he thinks through 5.
Well, now you can use that nickname with conviction because he's won the last 2 rounds in my estimation, and certainly won the last round with that terrific combination, and he hurt Suero a couple times in that round.
Round 6.
No one can accuse Flores of being wild or undisciplined in there. He takes his time about it.
Very patient. But in that flurry that we saw, in that replay of that flurry, you can see when he opens up, he's got some punching power.
Yeah, he does indeed. And I just think he punches so sparingly that doesn't give himself a chance to really dominate a fighter.
Oh, good right hand by Nestor Flores.
Suero was still there, though, and that one didn't seem to have that much impact on him.
Good chin by Tony Suero. I wonder what Flores thinks when he lands. He looks at the referee a little upset that Suero spun him around. I wonder what Flores thinks when he lands that right hand and nothing happened. Suero didn't blink an eye.
Now Flores is looking to time his right over the jab of Suero. Wasn't doing that earlier. Tony using that jab, of course, as he was earlier.
Past the midway point of the 6th round.
And there he drops the right hand in. Again, that one not as devastating as the one previous, but he's starting to get that punch in, Flores is.
Suero certainly aware of those counter punches of Nestor Flores. He's felt the sting in the last couple of rounds. Less than a minute to go in round 6. And they trade. Flores with glancing shots. Looks like Suero needs to throw that jab a little more. Good combination by Flores again. The right hand scoring.
Suero's trying to get the jab in, but it's falling short in this round. He's landed some of them. Also, he's worried about that overhand right, Sam, coming over the jab. And as this fight has gone on, Suero's jab has become a little slower and giving more opportunity for Flores to land that punch.
Time winding down in round 6. There have been no knockdowns. Good, tough battle here between middleweights Tony Suero and Nestor Flores.
Right hand toward the end of the round, the previous round, and that's a punch he's getting in with the regularity now.
As the 6th round ended, Tony Suero landed a nice combination that his corner liked, and perhaps it will renew his confidence. He'd slowed down just a little bit. This is round 7, scheduled for 10. Tony Suero from Vineland, New Jersey, coming in with a record of 15-7-2. Lands the right hand, and the crowd loves it.
The expression never changes on Flores' face. You know, Eduardo Navarro, the manager of Flores, assured us that his fighter was not a combination puncher. From what we've seen so far, he's a pretty accurate assessor of his own fighter. Very few combinations from Flores.
And the other thing that they've told us about Flores is that he's still learning. At age 23, he's learning how to box. They know he can slug. Nice combination by Suero again. Good straight right hand. Very impressively thrown by Suero.
That's the punch that earlier in the fight was coming in behind that left jab.
Now Suero getting busy. The jab looking good. The right hand scoring. Nice jab. Flores' right was taken on the gloves by Suero. If Suero keeps that jab in the face of Flores, he's going to really have a good shot at taking this fight.
He's come out here in round 7 to do just that.
And he slowed Flores down in the 7th round.
He's kept him off balance.
Good left hook. It hurt Flores. He's hurt. Wobbly. He's ready to go down. He's trying to recover. Good combination. Stings him again. Suero trying to stop the fight right here.
Flores is not a boxer. He does not move well. He's right there for Tony Suero. Suero must punch.
Oh, punch it out. The mouthpiece it out. It's all over. Larry Hazard stops the fight. Tony Suero has stopped the number 10 WBA middleweight. Nestor Flores is stopped in the 7th round.
And there was almost a look of shock on Tony Suero's face when he jumped on Carmen Graziano. An appropriate decision by Larry Hazard because Flores was literally out on his feet. Whoa, what a shocking turn of events.
And the home fans go wild here in Atlantic City. Nestor Flores sitting down. And here you see...
He looks for some divine inspiration on this one.
Tony Suero, tough Tony, blasted out.
Here is where Tony Suero hurt Flores. Hit him with the right. That left hook is the one that stunned Flores. And the mouthpiece of Flores will go flying with that right hand. At this point, after that left is where Flores was literally out on his feet. And Larry Hazard. You know, people can talk about fights being stopped too soon. This is something that Larry Hazard understands very well. When a fighter is hurt and he moves in appropriately, a different angle of that same action. And Larry Hazard stepping in. And after Suero had been hurt just a round or two previously, came back to dismantle Flores.
And the fans love it. Tough Tony Suero. He has turned things around for himself. That is a big, big win for Tony Suero as he stops Nestor Flores in the 7th round. And the thing that is so impressive about that is as soon as he had his man hurt, he never let him off the hook. He was in there for the finishing touches and did it. Nestor Flores is okay. Certainly a bit in shock when the fight was stopped, but is a big win for Tony Suero. Let's get the official time for Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 2:01 of the 7th round, referee Larry Hazard stops this contest. The winner by technical knockout, the prize, South Philadelphia, Tough Tony Suero.
And the show of sportsmanship by Tony Suero. Nestor Flores, a disappointed young man. He's still got a lot of work to do. Obviously, he's got more learning to do. But tough Tony Suero, who has always been a great competitor, a game fighter, a man who was very busy early in his career. Last couple of years, it's sloughed off. He has come on strong with a big win over Nestor Flores. We'll talk with him in just a moment. Next week, we come to you from Las Vegas, Thursday, July 12th at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific, live from the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas. Luis Santana will go against Felipe Canella, welterweight bout, and then Cubanito Perez goes against Frankie Davis, fine junior welterweight bout. You'll see it live Thursday night, July 12th, right here on your Total Sports Network with Sam Smith and Al Bernstein on Top Rank Boxing.
The gentleman in the ring here is called Tough Tony Suero, and there's a reason for that. You were hurt by Nestor Flores. It appeared in any case to us, and I think that a lot of us at ringside thought that perhaps you were hurt to the point where he might have been ready to take you out, and you came back well.
Hurt? What's that mean?
Well, I guess he doesn't. I guess you weren't hurt during that fight.
I was never dazed. I've been dazed before.
Okay.
I could feel he was a thud puncher. He was a thud puncher. He wasn't like the kind that hurt you that daze you. I could feel like, you know, the kind like, not daze you, like the kind like, feel like you pinch, you know, or hurt.
Okay.
Not a kind like a you know, a buzz, you know, where they're drunk. Not
All right, Tony, we will take a look at when you hurt Nestor Flores. Now, I don't think there's much doubt as to the fact that you hurt him. This was early in the round when you knocked him out.
Right hand, left hook.
The left hook was what really hurt him.
He was a strong kid, good puncher, but it's a pleasure fighting somebody of his caliber.
Here's where you knock his mouthpiece out.
Oh, I did do that? Oh, I did that?
You certainly did. Larry Hazard stepped in, and did you feel it was the appropriate point for Larry Hazard to step in?
Appropriate for me, yeah, because I feel like either he would have got hurt or something would have, it happened to him bad, I believe, because there was a minute left in the fight, right? Was it 2:02?
Right.
And I was not tired. I've been training for 5 weeks, living with Mr. Graziano here, which is worse than Broad Meadows, which is a prison.
Okay, getting in with Nestor Flores was nothing compared to living with Carmen. Is that what you're suggesting?
No way.
Okay.
I'd rather go to prison.
In this fight, there were a couple things that you did obviously very well. One of which was you used your left jab extremely well, and you set things up with that punch.
I worked on that because I seen the tape of the last fight, which you commentated, which I believe I won. But when I seen the tapes, I appreciate your opinion of the fight because you were right, but you put me down.
Oh, not too bad.
That made me train harder and more dedicated, and live with Skinny Minnie over here. I felt good, you know.
Okay, speaking of Skinny Minnie, Carmen Graziano is who he's talking about. Carmen, what about his...
And my other trainer that I worked, 2 trainers. This
Okay.
guy, Joe Mary, M-A-R-I, took care of me.
Okay.
Good, and Jimmy Arthur for the first 2 weeks.
All right, Jimmy, both also good trainers. What about Tony's performance tonight? How would you rate him? Obviously, he came back well. Was there anything that you saw that he did really extremely well?
Yes, he was boxing well. He had the control of the fight. He was watching punches that were coming at him. Tony's probably one of the best athletes in the country. And if Tony trains like he trained for this fight, and if he gets a little momentum going, he's going to be the toughest guy in the division. There's no question about it. He's got an iron jaw.
But I quit all that for 5 weeks, which proves that. That's what I was scared about with Perry, you know, because that's why I didn't throw no punches, because I was scared of getting tired. But I was in pretty good shape, and I came right back from training, right into that. I was supposed to fight Gonzalez, which I was in good shape. I hurt my hand. Then I came right back to the gym.
Okay, Tony, thank you very much. Congratulations to you. Let's go back to Sam Rosen.
Thank you, Al, and congratulations to tough Tony Suero from Vineland, New Jersey, as he stops Nestor Flores in the 7th round. Back with more Top Rank Boxing in a moment. Hotel and Casino.